Look, in a related development, before I get there, let me just welcome Mr. Kwadwo Twum Boafo. He's joined us. He also hasn't been here in a while. He's abandoned his younger brothers and sisters. We've been looking for him. We can't find him. Finally, he's been found. Hooray! He's been found. He's been found. And so we're grateful that we've been able to locate him. Now he's here. Mr. Kwadwo Twum Boafo, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, OPK. I haven't abandoned you. I've not been too well, and I'm trying to make the transition from being a civil engineer to looking at what OPK and his gang have stolen.
Looking into people's accounts.
It's shocking what you find.
That's what you've been busy doing.
This morning, when I was told that I would meet him, the first thing I did was to go into my account and see if I
what is there.
Yeah, I just checked. He has withdrawn it.
No, how much did he withdraw?
Oh,
Make it public.
He has 5 pesos.
You know, these days when you're a public figure, there's nothing like privacy anymore.
No.
There's nothing like confidentiality. So, but anyway, congratulations for 5 pesos, and we'll pray that
you the life in opposition.
Life in opposition. He can replenish the stock.
I'm waiting to follow him under his bed.
Oh, you mean you're suspicious? Anything is possible.
Open Sesame under his bed.
Hey, you've been very busy, and you will be very busy.
Yes.
Anyway, so Kwadwo Twum Boafo is the acting Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Intelligence Center, and so he's joined us now. Now, Kwadwo, we've been very worried about what's happening in the northern part of Ghana. We've seen some incidents where the attack on the residents of Mahama, and the chaps who did it gave some very flimsy reason that something happened. Mahama didn't do anything about it. And secondly, the president got there. The president paid him a visit recently, and he didn't bring all the MPs in the Upper East region together, and that's why they're upset. And so they went to Benny's house, touched it. Now, in a related development, Kojo, the private residence of Haji Aladi Ayi Ayamba, who is the member of parliament for the Pusiga constituency in Bawku, was also attacked by armed men who set fire to a mattress and a bed in the house. Now, the incident, which occurred around midday on Thursday, which was yesterday, also resulted in damage to the doors and windows of the residence. Now, security sources reported a group of irate youth armed with guns. I keep asking who supplies them with these guns. Anyway, stormed the house and fired several gunshots, damaging the doors, windows, and other parts of the property. They also set ablaze a mattress and a bed located in a summer hut used by security personnel on duty. Fortunately, no casualties were recorded. The Ghana News Agency also received reports of a failed attempt to attack the private residence of, that happened, subsequently. And we are worried. I mean, it's the poorest of the, the upper, especially the Upper East region, is one of the most underprivileged, poorest part of this country. And yet, the irony is there's always a lot of fighting. I mean, how do we deal with this?
Well, I think that we all know that the problem in Bawku, especially, has to do with a tribal issue, chieftaincy issue, and the expectation of youth from either side of the tribal conflict who are also politically polarized. And so they believe that when a particular party comes to power, they should be allowed revenge. And when the other party comes to power, the other people also want revenge. But I ask them, and I ask everybody, when is enough enough? Why do you take your anger out and destroy government property? Or destroy an MP's property in a country where we are deprived, and your part of the country, unfortunately, is even more deprived? Why don't you take your anger out in a positive manner? I mean, you asked where they get the guns. Most of the guns are locally made guns. I saw, I think it was Randy.
Yeah.
Dr. Randy Abbey, when he was dealing with the small arms
issue.
They put out a documentary where you see local blacksmiths turning out AK-47s. So channel that ingenuity into making tools for agric, tools for production, tools for preservation of produce, and let's better your lot. Why would you burn an MP's house? Honorable Mahama Yariga is a Harvard-educated lawyer. If he leaves Parliament today, he can get work anywhere. If he doesn't come to Bawku for the rest of his life, he'll be fine. Why do you destroy his home ostensibly because you are upset, even though you are apparently NDC, you are ostensibly upset about something he didn't do? You know, the previous president didn't come to Bawku. Did you come to Nima to destroy his house? So the young people, you know, maybe with the benefit of being 56, some of the testosterone in me has died down. Okay? I'm sure OPK same. But this is unbelievable, you know, what they've done. Destroying air conditioners, destroying. You know, Haji Aladi has been a teacher all her life. You know, if she decides not to come back to Pusuga again, she'll do very well. So what about you? Right? They should find a way to resolve these differences without the violence. It's simply untenable. And I think that the police and the army contingents there should also try and be front foot on some of these things. Because some of these things you can find out before the action actually takes place. They should build an informal network that tells them something is about to go down, and they get out there and they go and resolve it before it even happens. There should also be conflict resolution, right, at the top of the tree in whatever they are doing. But see, having said that, I think I was listening to my brother OPK, and he was making very good points before he brought in the Reverend Team for Joe matter. I think that
we're going to get there. That's actually that's the next topic.
So let me just comment on it. I think that the right to free speech does not include the right to yell fire in a crowded theater.
Right.
You understand? If you go to the Accra Sports Stadium on a Black Stars match day, and because you have a right to free speech, you start yelling, Ijato how, and you are obviously committing a crime. So you said we'll get to Reverend Team for
that's our next topic.
And I have a lot to say about it because you know, he actually called out for me.
All right.
He called for the genie. The genie is here and he's not here.
All right.
You know, so anyway.
So I guess, look, our folks who live in the part of the country, and of course, Kusasi and Mampusi brothers who live in various parts of this country. Let's call our brothers to order. Let's call our brothers to order.
And before you finish the topic, you remember that before the elections, some of them were murdered. You know, bus was stopped, bus driver shot when children were watching. Didn't happen.
Yes.
When children were watching, didn't happen once, didn't happen twice. Dr. Baumia visited the area. I don't blame him for not being able to resolve a conflict that is decades old.
Yeah.
And at the very least, some of the people who did that were known, and they should have been caught and prosecuted. And so these things are cyclical. And the cycle of violence absolutely needs to stop. It needs to stop. Young people, if you are watching and listening, you need to stop killing and maiming each other. You have to stop.
I guess you've said it all. Because the thing is, there's no way, no government can develop that part of the country in a conflict situation. It's just not possible. A lot of private companies are moving their, businesses from there because they don't feel safe. Nothing works in a chaotic environment. It's never going to work.
I mean, the notion that
markets are being segregated.
The notion that the president visited there and he didn't come with all the it's as ludicrous as you can have it. Why would they want to come? I mean, do they understand the security operation that took place before the president even came there?
No, they don't care.
Do they understand what happened? Didn't they see the helicopters when the president came there? And I mean, I don't want to. We are all Ghanaians.
It's
one
terrible.
of the first things that President Mahama did when he came to power was to come there. That should have sent a signal that he's interested in resolving the problem. And so you don't try to call the president out for not bringing the rest of the MPs. What have they got to do with what you're doing there?
Yeah.